Paranormal Investigations Hawaii, from the case files of Harry Wong, Paranormal Investigator. Season 1, Episode 10, The Night Marchers, Part 2. Previously, on The Night Marchers, Part 1, Harry was hot on the trail of a flatulent ghost, but when he turned to his old associate, Kahuna Bob, for help with an exorcism, Bob was nowhere to be found. Clues suggested that Bob had been abducted. Following the trail deep into the Nu'uanu Valley, Harry arrived at the abandoned Kaniakapupu ruins, a place said to lie on the paths of the Night Marchers. When eerie footsteps echoed through the forest, Harry thought the ancient warriors had come for him. But it wasn't the Night Marchers. It was Kahuna Bob and his minions. Their true nature revealed, they were mana vampires, undead creatures who feed on the life force of the living. As their tentacles latched on and began to drain Harry's vital essence, Harry's fate hung by a thread. Will he survive the feast or become one of them? Find out in Part 2 of The Night Marchers. I fell into a state of shock as I grew colder and weaker. I no longer had the power to resist them. I was dying, and perhaps as a self-defense mechanism, my mind drifted off into a dream, into a vision. I was a child again, and I was at my favorite beach. The soothing warmth of the sun caressed me. The gentle ocean breeze brushed my skin. The relaxing murmur of the waves tickled my ears. The grains of sand grazed at my feet. My father, who I last saw at his funeral 10 years ago, was there. He was young and vibrant again. He called my name, Harry, and appeared from out of the sunlight, smiling that smile I hadn't seen in years. He reached out to me. He took my hand and knelt down next to me. He whispered in my ear,
"Wake up, little one. It's not your time yet. You can do this. They are coming. Listen for them."
The little child I used to be said,
"No, Daddy, I don't want to go. I want to stay here with you."
I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to let him go. I didn't want him to leave me again. It was peaceful and warm here. I wanted to stay here forever. I felt so tired. I just wanted to sleep.
Hurry, they're coming. It's not your time yet. I'll see you again. I promise.
And with that, he let go of my hand and he was gone. A wave of exhaustion overwhelmed me. I could hardly think straight. I just wanted to sleep. My mana was almost completely drained. But if there was still a chance to survive, no matter how slim, I had to take it. I thought of what my father said, that it was not my time yet. I thought about all the victims whose lives were destroyed by Bob, all the innocents who suffered because the vampires were targeting me, and I became angry. They had no one but me to speak for them, and I couldn't let them down. I would not let the vampires win. I would not let Bob get away with this. I was still very weak. It felt like I was chained to enormous weights and being held underwater. But slowly, bit by bit, I forced my eyelids open. The vampires still stood over me. They were like junkies in a drug-induced haze as they continued to consume my life force through their tentacles. I tried to raise my right arm. It felt like rubber and wouldn't move at first, but I channeled what little strength I still had left and pulled it slowly off the ground. Then I reached for the tentacle that was impaled into my chest. It belonged to the cougar vampire. I grabbed it and pulled. It hurt like I was plucking out a long, disgusting nose hair, but I did not let go until I tore the monstrous appendage out from my chest. The pincers oozed blood, my blood, and something else. A white, milky substance. My mana, my life force. Without a container to hold it, the mana dripped back into my body. The returning life force hit me like a shot of espresso straight into my brain. I felt a small surge of strength, of energy coming back into me. The cougar vampire fell onto the ground, screaming and writhing in agony.
No!
Then her form mutated. She aged before my eyes until she was a dried up mummy. Except her eyes still moved. She looked over at me with an expression of fear and desperation. I got up slowly and limped over to where she was still flailing on the ground. Then I stomped on her head to put her out of her misery. She stopped moving and instantly turned into dust. The other 3 vampires backed away warily, but they couldn't get very far without detaching their tentacles from me. Emboldened now, I took hold of the tentacle stuck into my stomach, which belonged to the doofus vampire. I closed my eyes and ripped it out quickly, like ripping out a band-aid.
Stop! I'm not done! No, don't you motherfucker!
His tentacle hung loose, and like before, the residual mana flowed from it back into me, and Doofus crumpled into a dried-up corpse. I stomped on his head without a second thought. Now only Kainoa and Bob were still attached and feeding off me. There was uncertainty and apprehension in their eyes as they attempted to drain as much mana out of me as quickly as possible.
Kainoa, what are you waiting for, you dolt? Stop him so we can finish feeding.
What should I do, boss?
I don't care. Just kill him. We'll still have enough time to drain him before his body got cold.
Kainoa was quick for his size. He tackled me to the ground, all while his tentacle was still pierced into my leg. Bob's tentacle was stuck onto my back, so I ended up laying on my side. Kainoa straddled me and pulled out a giant knife. He held it with 2 hands and raised it over his head. He had an expression of desperate madness as he tried to stab me in the head. I reached for the closest thing I could find for protection, Kainoa's tentacle, which lay on the ground next to me. I pulled it up to block my head as he brought the knife down. Instead of stabbing me in the head, he stabbed his own tentacle. The force of his blow sheared completely through it. Kainoa screamed and slid off me onto the ground. I pulled the other half of his tentacle out from my leg. As with the other 2, the mana flowed back into me from his detached tentacle, while Kainoa thrashed on the ground and continued screaming. Apparently, the tentacle was a very sensitive body part. After a few more seconds, he fell still, then turned to dust like the others. I got up to face Bob. It's just you and me now, sweetheart. I hate to tell you this, but I think it's time to say aloha to our relationship. So I'm gonna have to ask you nicely to pull your thing out from me.
Oh, but I was so enjoying our newfound connection, I think I'll keep it in you just a little bit longer and double the fun.
To my surprise, another slit opened in Bob's chest, and a second tentacle shot toward me. The razor-sharp pincers buried itself deep into my chest. I let out a cry of pain and shock, then fell weakly to my knees as both tentacles siphoned the life force from me. No means no, Bob.
Then it's a good thing I don't take no for an answer.
I fell onto my side. I could barely hold my head up now. I glanced down at my fingers. They were like dried prunes as my life force, my mana, was almost depleted. My eyelids felt like lead weights. I struggled but could not keep them open. Just before I fell completely into oblivion, a faint sound seeped into my remaining consciousness. It repeated over and over and gradually grew louder. At first, I thought it was just the beating of my heart, But then, as it gained in volume, I recognized it as the beating of tribal drums. It increased in loudness and intensity until it dragged me back from the abyss and into consciousness. I opened my eyes and saw that Bob was still standing over me, but he had stopped feeding. Instead, he was listening, looking around and searching for the source of the drumming. He heard it too. I wasn't just hallucinating. Then, the sound of blowing conch shells rang out like the blaring of an alarm that warned of impending doom. Bob's expression changed from apprehension to terror when he saw something in the direction of the bamboo forest. I got up slowly, and then I saw it too. A line of torches appeared at the edge of the forest and then slowly emerged into the clearing. My blood ran cold when I saw the torches were carried by ancient Hawaiian warriors, the Night Marchers. Their procession headed directly toward us, the torchbearers and conch blowers in front, the spear-carrying warriors behind them, and the drummers in the rear. Bob turned to me with fear in his eyes. His voice shook as he spoke. I'd never seen him afraid of anything, ever.
I think this is my cue to leave.
Bob started to pull his tentacles out from my back and my chest. The pincers ripped into my flesh as they retracted, but despite the pain, I wasn't about to let him escape. If the Night Marchers were going to turn us into mincemeat, I was going to make sure Bob was the main course. One tentacle tore out of my back, taking a chunk of flesh with it. I shrieked in pain and nearly collapsed to the ground. I quickly grabbed the tentacle that was still embedded into my chest and held onto it for dear life.
What are you doing? You don't let go of me.
Leaving so soon? How selfish of you. I didn't even get to have my turn yet. Bob yanked harder. His pincers sliced further into my flesh as he tried to pull them out of me. I let out an agonized scream, but managed to keep my grip on the remaining tentacle, if only for a little while longer. I felt the Night Marchers' presence all around us now. Their chanting weaved a hypnotic spell that was both intoxicating and nightmarish at the same time. Bob felt it too. He struggled harder to extract his tentacle from my chest, but I held on with every last ounce of energy I had left.
Let go of me, you fool! No!
Bob continued to pull, but it was too late. The Night Marchers were here. They drifted into the summer palace. The drumming and chanting escalated into a crescendo, and then they fell silent. I quickly dropped to the ground as they moved among us. Bob did the same. It was kapu, or forbidden, to look upon the faces of the Night Marchers, and even though they would probably kill us anyways, old habits died hard. Their faint shadows fell over us. I chanced to peek at one of them as they passed in front of me and saw that their feet never touched the ground. I finally let go of Bob's last tentacle. It retracted from my chest and tore a series of new cuts from my skin. I didn't care. It was too late for Bob to escape now. I saw a glimpse of his terror-stricken face in my peripheral vision, which warmed my heart. Hey, Bob. As a professor of Hawaiian history, you know that you are truly and deeply fucked.
You've doomed us, the both of us, you oaf!
He glared at me one last time, then turned his face back to the ground. The Marchers now had us surrounded. Their mana was as powerful as a physical force. It flowed over, around, and through us. Bob started to recite his lineage in hopes of finding an ancestor among the Marchers who would claim him. Damn it, if one of his ancestors was here, Bob would be spared. He repeated his lineage over and over for what seemed like an eternity. Then my heart sank when an ethereal voice from the procession shouted, meaning mine. He had been claimed. He would be saved while I would most likely die a horrible bloody death by impalement. I didn't care what happened to me now. I had to stop Bob. I couldn't let him get away with his crimes. I slowly got up onto my knees and addressed the Night Marchers as a whole, hoping their leader was listening. Hey, whoever's in charge here, I implore you, do not claim him. Don't spare him. He might be one of your descendants, but he has broken your most sacred law. He has stolen the mana of innocent victims to prolong his own accursed unnatural life. He was about to take my life force when you arrived. I beg you, take my life if you must, but don't spare his. I closed my eyes and held my breath, expecting to be shish kebabbed at any moment now. After several long seconds passed and I was still in one piece, I opened my eyes and saw the marchers were still there, but they looked distracted, as if something or someone were communicating telepathically with them. Bob continued chanting his family tree. Then, a mysterious voice spoke, a voice filled with smoke and ashes. It came from somewhere within the procession, but it also echoed in my head at the same time. It said one word.
Kapu.
Forbidden. All the other marchers joined in and chanted,
Kapu. Kapu. Kapu.
until it became a deafening roar. After a few seconds, they fell silent again. Then another word came from the disembodied voice.
Oia.
Meaning, let him be pierced. And once again, all the marchers chanted,
Oia. 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 Oia.
This time, they didn't stop. They kept chanting and they advanced on Bob. I quickly crawled out of the immediate area as they surrounded him. Bob desperately continued chanting his lineage, but no one was going to save him this time. The marchers raised their spears. I had to turn my head away as all hell broke loose. Bob let out a blood-curdling wail as the marchers plunged their spears into him one by one while chanting,
Oia. Oia. Oia.
After several seconds, they fell silent again and stepped back from the carnage. I snuck a peek over at Bob. He was crumpled into a fetal position. His face was contorted into a mask of terror. His body looked like it had been through a meat grinder. I turned my head away. His days of feeding on others were over. Then the marchers turned to me, their dead eyes fixed upon mine. With Bob taken care of, I was ready for what would come next. Mahalo, your eeriness, but before you turn me into Manapua filling, can I ask a favor first? I'd like to leave a note for my family to tell them I love them. Then you can kill me if you really still have to. But don't feel like you need to kill me on my account, because if you just let me go, I'll forget this ever happened. Cross my heart and hope to die. Oh, never mind. But if you absolutely, definitely have to, could you please just leave my face untouched? Yeah, I was trying to buy some time, but it looked like my time was finally up. They closed in on me. I shut my eyes and braced myself. I didn't picture dying this way. I always thought I would die in a comfy hospital bed after I had been injured, performing some heroic deed, surrounded by loved ones so I could say goodbye with a long, rambling, incoherent speech. Or, more likely, I would die by the hand of some evil demonic creature, crying like a baby and pleading for my life. But expectations be damned. I was ready and I was at peace with myself and my life. Sure, there were a few things I still wanted to do, like get front row seats to a Black Sabbath reunion concert with all the original members, watch The Wizard of Oz while listening to Dark Side of the Moon, find an all-you-can-eat restaurant that didn't kick you out after 5 hours. You know, the usual dreams everyone had growing up. The night marchers surrounded me now. I closed my eyes and prepared myself for the end. Okay, go ahead, I'm ready. Then one of the marchers spoke. I recognized the voice instantly.
No, I claim him. I claim my son.
It was the voice of my father. I opened my eyes to see the marchers parting and my father walking out from among them. I couldn't believe it. He stood out because he wasn't wearing a loincloth like the other warriors. He wore the clothes that he was buried in. He walked up to me, smiled, and held out his hand. I smiled back and took it. Dad, is that really you?
I'm proud of you, son. Your deeds are well known to us. You honor us by your actions. Your ancestors smile upon you. It is not your time yet. You still have a lot of work to do. One day, we'll meet again. Until then, go in peace, my son. And remember, I will always be with you.
And with that, he turned around and he was gone. Then, to my surprise, the night marchers all chanted at once.
Na'u, Na'u, Na'u.
They all claimed me as one of their own, as an adopted or Hanai son. From now on, I would always be safe from them. Mahalo, Makuakane. Mahalo, Ohana. And with that, they returned to their path and departed the clearing until the last torchlight disappeared into the distance. I got up to leave and took one last look at Bob's body. It had turned to dust like all the other vampires. There would be no evidence they were ever here. I was okay with that. A sudden bone-aching tiredness hit me. I felt like I could sleep for a week. So I went home and did just that. Epilogue. I had one more loose end to tie up before I could take a nice, well-deserved vacation to the 9th island, the Shen's flatulent ghost. Since Bob had been sliced and diced by the night marchers, I was short one exorcist. I stopped by the Shen's condo to give them the bad news. Aloha, Glenn and Gwen. I know I told you I would bring back an exorcist to get rid of your poopy ghost, but my go-to guy got turned into roadkill by night marchers. So it might take a while to find another one that came with the Vatican seal of approval.
Oh yeah, about that. We meant to give you a call. You see, we've kind of gotten used to Fernando.
Fernando?
That's his real name, you know. Mr. Poopy Pants.
How do you know his real name?
He told us. Well, not in so many words. He can communicate through his farts.
What the fudge?
We discovered that if we fogged up the bathroom mirror, he can write letters on it with his farts.
No freaking way.
Yes, freaking way. So, we've been talking a lot. He's a really fascinating person, and one thing led to another. So we're now a throuple. We want Fernando to stay. He's an integral part of this relationship now.
How the hell does that even work?
Let's just say his farts are very powerful and create a lot of pressure.
Okay, I don't need to hear anything more. I'm gonna need some mind bleach to scrub out what I just imagined. Suddenly, a huge, loud, smelly fart blew right into my face. I gagged and my lunch came back up my throat. I barely managed to swallow it back down again. It tasted better the first time.
Oh, Fernando likes you. That's how he shows affection. It's his way of kissing you.
And I'm done here. Best of luck to you three. I got the heck out of there before Fernando showed any more affection. It was time for a long vacation, but I had a feeling there would be many more paranormal investigations waiting for me when I returned. Until then, this has been Harry Wong signing out. Aloha and ahui ho kako. Until we meet again. You have been listening to Paranormal Investigations Hawaii from the case files of Harry Wong, Paranormal Investigator, a fictional podcast.